got a butt. Butts everywhere. Butts everywhere. Oh my god, it's butts. It's time for butts. Oh my god, push the button, you maniac. Oh my god, I forgot to do the thing. It's actually an effect. It's actually like a really cool effect when you leave the cap, the lens cap. What is it? It's a lens cap. That's what it be. What's up, everybody? It's Monday. I'm having a case of the. It feels like somebody's having a case of the Mondays. Yeah, we're having a. Are we having a case of the Mondays? I don't know. No, not really. I feel fine. I feel fine. I feel happy. I feel good. In fact, I feel. Oh my god, I feel amazing. I feel so good. It'll blow your pants off, your socks off. All of the attire on the bottom half of your body will be blown aside. You shall be full Winnie the Pooh before you know it. You'll have a full Winnie the Pooh situation going on, and everybody will wonder. Everybody will wonder about you. And everybody wondered about Winnie the Pooh also. Everyone wondered about Winnie the Pooh. Why didn't Winnie the Pooh wear pants? Right? Everybody was wondering it. Winnie the Pooh was wearing a shirt. Why was Winnie the Pooh wearing a shirt and no pants? These are the questions. These are the days of our lives. What's up, everybody? It's Monday, April 28th. Let's start the show. 2025 is the year. 2025 is the year. I am 1,248 years old now. Welcome to the old-timey Man Yells at Clouds stream. I hope you're ready for it. I hope you're prepared. I hope you have your pants on so that they're ready to be blown right off. Blown right off. Bears don't wear pants, that's why. And bears don't wear shirts either. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? He was endowed like a Ken doll. Winnie the Pooh is a lady, I believe. And we'll look it up. Oh, no, Winnie the Pooh's a boy, apparently. Oh, here's the confusion. Here's the confusion. No, Winnie the Pooh is a boy, while the real-life bear he was named after, a female black bear named Winnie, was a female. The character in A.A. Milne's? I don't know. Stories, and in the Disney adaptations referred to as he. I thought Winnie the Pooh was a female. I don't know. Seemed very effeminate to me. So, I don't know. Maybe Winnie the Pooh is... And here's what's weird. Here's an old article from 2015 that says Winnie is a girl. According to the book, Winnie was named after Winnipeg, a real black bear who lived in the London Zoo. This is confusing. There's actually a bunch of posts that say Winnie the Pooh is a girl. Okay, this is a whole lot of confusion. Yeah, well, who knows? Lots of lots of differing articles. All right. Well, who knows? Who knows? Lots of differing articles. So who knows? Could have been endowed like a Ken doll, named after a female bear. So who knows? Who really knows? Who cares? Honestly, we're gonna move on because I don't care. Some people would say we're gonna move on because I thought I was wrong. We're gonna move on because we've dedicated so much time to it that it's time to move on. And the reason we started late today, I know people are beating down the door. They really want to know why. Mainly because I mentioned it in the chat. As I was walking out to hit start on the live stream, my daughter, who happens to be home from school today, because, and here's the reason that she was home. So yesterday she was throwing up all day. She was barfing. She went on a camping trip with the Girl Scouts, and middle of the night Saturday, she started throwing up and barfing. And kids do that sometimes, you know. They do that. They throw up, and then it just stops and goes away. And this wasn't that version. This was the version that kept going, and kept going and kept going, and then she even got to the point where she was complaining about how hungry she was, and was like, yeah, because you keep throwing up, you don't have any food in you. So then she would want to eat something, and like she ate a popsicle, like one of those natural fruit popsicle things, and threw that up. And so it was even to that point, and then we tried the crackers, you know, the banana, you know, all the regular, these are easy for your tummy to digest and you probably won't throw up. She was throwing up that stuff. So strangely enough, throughout the day, she was throwing up, and then all of a sudden, not throwing up anymore. Ate some dinner, no problems. And then she started coughing a bunch. So we're just like, hey, bro, can you get it together here? Can you like have a cough or have some throwing up? But no, it's one into the other. And she woke up this morning and it was like, yeah, we don't even know what's going on. She's coughing and she was throwing up, and the throwing up stopped. But then it's like, you know, I'm like, it seems like she has food poisoning. I mean, it really seemed like her symptoms were some kind of food poisoning. And she was out at Girl Scouts camp, where I guarantee you the hygiene, right? The level of sanitization and hygiene is probably pretty low. So I was like, I bet you she has food poisoning. But then she started doing all this coughing over the night. And we're like, shit, does she have COVID? She might have COVID. We do have a relative that had COVID. So we're like, maybe she has COVID. Test her for COVID. Doesn't have it. So, and now she seems absolutely fine. She's just totally fine. And our house here has 2 living rooms. One of them used to be a single car garage, which, as you can see, I'm in a garage. At one point in time, somebody added a bigger garage to this house, and they converted the old little garage into another living room. And having done that, we have no need for 2 living rooms. I don't understand why anybody would need 2 living rooms and why they would have done what they did. It's weird. They don't flow into each other either, which is nuts. But that's how it was remodeled. That's how they did it. That's how they did it in the 90s, baby. And so that room has turned into Olivia's playroom. Like, all of her extra toys are in there. There's a couch for visitors that they could sleep on. It's got pull out, you know. Anyhow, I go to walk past that, and I hear, Daddy. Daddy. I'm like, oh, what's, yeah, daughter, lovely daughter. What are you doing? What's up? So I spilled I had a spill. Like, okay. You had a spill. What happened? So I come in there. Apparently, she has spilt an entire glass of lemonade. One of the stickier substances to spill all over the floor. Then apparently has used a toy mop to try and clean up the offending lemonade, as it were, thusly spreading it all over, and has walked in it also. And I said, Olivia, why? Why? Tell me what. How wet are your feet right now? And she goes, my feet are very wet. So why are you standing in the wet liquid? And she goes, I don't know. I was mopping. I'm like, okay. So then we had to go through the like, hey, this is a toy mop. This isn't a real mop. If we want to mop, we want to get the other mop that's out here. Yeah, I know the handle's long and it's big, but this is the mop you want to use. And yeah, so needless to say, I had to clean up a whole thing of lemonade that had spilled all over the floor. Yeah. So Olivia's here today, partying like a 6-year-old, watching Bluey and spilling lemonade all over the place and cleaning it up with a toy mop, a.k.a. spreading it all around the floor. So we got that resolved, but that's why we were late today. Pretty funny. Ridiculous funny stuff. Either way. Oh my God, there's so many people that are talking about how you had a house with extra rooms. House I grew up in, built in the mid-1980s, had a living room and a family room. Might have had one as a formal living room and the other as a family room. I really want to show you guys the inside of my house. I guess I'm going to have to try and describe it with words. The living room is clearly a living room. It's got a fireplace in it. It's where the original house living room was. And this originally, this house was not a house that had 2 living rooms. They added on to the house, mainly this big garage area that I'm in right now. Was their big add-on that they did. And this was a house that was never intended ever to have multiple rooms of the family, as it were, right? This house was not supposed to have multiple of those. And so, like I said, the old single-car garage is converted to a room. The big downside of that is that room is converted and it has big windows. And while we don't have a busy road necessarily out front here, we do have some people driving down the road. But we have like school kids that walk down the road because there's a school right down the way. There's plenty enough foot traffic that the big bay windows that they put in are like, yeah, people are just walking down the street and like, hey, what are you doing in there? You know, kind of situation. So it does have a level of awkwardness to it. But at some point in the future, I don't know when, at some point, I'm going to expand the current bathroom so that instead of just a toilet and a sink, it's going to have a toilet, a sink, and a shower. And then I'm going to move the washer and dryer to a different location. Then I'm going to build a wall to close that off, put a door in it, and then I'm going to open up to the other living room a doorway that goes in between the two. So if you potentially did have a situation where you wanted these people in this living room and those people in the other room, you would actually be able to do that. Because right now you actually have to walk all the way around the house. So you got to come into the dining room, go through the dining room, into the kitchen, through the kitchen, into some no man's land, and then go into the other living room to get the 7.5 inch distance. That is the wall, right? To go there, and there's just a wall, so there's really no way to communicate between those rooms. So, like, let's say if the girls, let's say Olivia and her friends are playing in that playroom, and we're in the living room, then we have to go all the way around to go find out, like, somebody spilt a glass of lemonade, right? So the flow of the house makes no sense. So we're going to be changing that. That was exactly what it was. The nice family room had the white couches that we weren't allowed to sit on until the other room sofas were replaced, and then the new sofas were off limits. We also had the kitchen table that we ate at every day, and also a formal dining room with a really nice table and chairs that only got used when there were guests. That makes me sound like we were rich. Really, my parents just lived beyond their means for the school district. Oh. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Boomers be tripping. I don't know what to tell you. Boomers be tripping. I don't know why. I don't know why you would want to spend the amount of money to live beyond your means for something that, like, realistically is only for show, for, like, just the sake of, like, showing off or something for when you have guests at your house. It doesn't make any sense to me, but a lot of them do it. A lot of people do that. A lot of people drive around Porsches for just that very reason. My house had a living room and a parlor growing up, but it was built in 1900. So I bet they entertained. The family room not being easily accessible to the living room might have been a feature. It's not a feature. I got it. Oh, okay. Like, I realize we've entered a debate now. Like, and I'm cutting this debate off. These people did not have that plan. I gotta tell you, they didn't have that plan. The plan was to add the garage. When I moved in here, tons of car people would stop by. They would just pull in. And they would be like, where's blah, 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 right? And I'd be like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And you go, oh, the guy that lived here forever. He's got my carburetor or something. And I'd be like, I don't know who that is, and I'm not him. And they'd be like, oh, he used to come over here and work on cars all the time. This garage was added on, so that the former owner could work on cars and be out here and not be entertaining anybody in a living room, right? But my interpretation is that the wife would have not allowed for an extra garage. So it was like, okay, we'll finish the interior of this room, and then now it'll become a room. My house growing up was a piece of shit I built. Wait, my house growing up was a piece of shit built I don't know why I just read that wrong, but I did. The late 1800s. Oh, my house growing up was a piece of shit built in the late 1800s with a coal chute and a dirt basement. From Branton Lightcap. I don't know, man. I've never seen Branton Lightcap here before. Who's Branton Lightcap? Let's go to their page. Let's see, who is Branton Lightcap? He's got a new video a month ago. Exclusive tour of Outside in Aquatics Kitchen Fish Room. It seems like Brandon's got a bunch of stuff going on. Who are the aquarium guys? Who are these guys?
I'll take this serious. I'll turn my phone off. How about that?
Jim and Rob's.
And we're all a little bit tipsy, and he goes,
I don't know who those guys are. I don't know. It's probably the first time. Probably the first time to the stream. Welcome, Brendan Lightcap. Brandon Lightcap. Yeah. Oh, Brantuan. Oh, got it. It's like it's French or something. I don't know. Effort. Yeah, it's a very bravo move by the daughter, spilling the lemonade everywhere. It was crazy. Alyssa Bentley has returned from travels abroad. Not saying that Alyssa Bentley is abroad. I'm saying she traveled abroad. Abroad. How do you say that? Is that something you can say? Who the fuck knows? I don't know. Anyhow, they traveled abroad and said, in good news, I managed to go to Hawaii. Oh, shit. She said where they went. Okay, in the chat. Okay, so we've spoiled. Spoiler alert. They went to Hawaii. I managed to go to Hawaii and only get sunburned on my scalp and one spot on my back where I must have scraped the sunscreen off on the sand or something. You know that spot that gets sunburned? The sunscreen doesn't get scraped off. You just missed a spot. That's how it works. Trust me. Trust me from a guy who spent every year of my youth bronzing it up. I gotta find some pictures of me when I was a kid. People occasionally thought I was mixed race. I was that brown. But yeah, when you definitely when you hit those Hawaiian rays and you got a spot that gets burned, it's because you missed a spot. That's just how that works. Anyhow. And the follow-up was, the fish room survived almost too well. I hired a coworker of mine to watch the fish. That is great. Had a rash guard shirt on most of the time, but I think next time I'll also get swim pants. Yes, get a rash guard and some swim pants. It's great for navigating the waters of Hawaii, especially when you're out there just floating around and you're kind of bobbing around with your snorkel and your goggles, your visor, whatever the fuck that's called. The snorkel mask. Snorkeling mask? I don't know. Who cares? Scuba mask. Whatever. You're down there and you're cavorting around, and then you're like, oh shit, I see a turtle over there, but you can't swim up and you can't touch the turtle, but you wanna be able to check it out, right? So you're kind of floating around, you're kind of doing a thing, and then next thing you know, the water goes whoosh and it swooshes around, and then you scrape the shit out of your knee on some scraggly ass rocks, because it's all volcanic rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, them rocks is porous and scrapey, so avoid that. And yeah, get some swim pants. I mean, I highly recommend if you could get like a badass swimsuit. Yeah, it's fucking badass, dude. I used to have a swimsuit shirt, or it's not a swimsuit shirt, a wetsuit shirt and some wetsuit trunks. And they could just take the wetsuit shirt off and just rock the wetsuit trunks. You know, one of the great things about it is that ladies get to check out your shape, as it were. You know, your pear, right? Your moose knuckle. You know, and if they're interested, they could take a peek. So it's kind of a nice turnaround. It's kind of a nice turn the tables on. You know, all the ladies are in like swimsuits and bikinis and stuff, and every once in a while you are like, wow, she work out, right? Anyhow, fuck me. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I love going to Hawaii. I definitely want to go to Hawaii again. I think in the near future we'll be able to visit family out there. I think next year. I mean, I don't know. The whole world's fucking coming to an end, so maybe not. We were thinking about going this year, but we're having to do Alaska again. So yeah, but I would love to go back to Hawaii. I've been there a few times. So I would love to go back. I did take video underwater, but I need to learn how to edit so it's not just minutes of algae covered rocks and occasionally a fish. Fucking true, dude. You can't just post up the raw footage. People get mad. Rob's Oscen and Jim. You know what's weird? That's the one part I wasn't joking about. I actually don't know who those guys are. Are they fish guys? I don't know. Probably. I would assume. It sounds like they're the fish guys. I don't know. The real question is like, which island did you go to? I gotta put that in. I guess I should probably put that in the chat. Holy shit, Witchy Cat's in the... We got a caller today. We got a caller?
Caller, are you there?
Holler back at your boy. What's up?
First time caller, long time listener.
First time caller. First time super chatter. We got a super chat from you today. What did it say? It said, oh my God, thick boy. Oh, wow. Weird.
Baby.
Why would you say that?
I don't know. It was the moose knuckle. It struck me.
The moose knuckle talk. Yeah. No, I'm saying that like the wetsuit bottoms are, it's comfortable, man, because you go jazzing into the water and you come jazzing back out, and then and you can just rock them, and you can like sit down in the sand and just not be bothered at all. When the sand is like 300,000 degrees, the buns ain't burnt.
Crawling up your ass.
Yeah, and you don't get the buns burnt, and you don't get like sand in your wetsuit trunks. There's a lot of positives, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of upside. I tried to find the sneaky upside for the ladies, but there's not a lot of ladies out there that enjoy doing the old meat gazing, as it were. They don't like to be.
We don't talk about it.
They don't like to be hanging around meat gazing. Where dudes are always meat gazing. They're doing it all the time. They're doing it in the boys' locker room. They're doing it in there too. So
that's a whole nother issue.
The boys is always looking. The boys is always looking around. Trying to figure out what's going on. It's probably because it's probably because
to go today.
It's probably because the men's is confused, right? We're confused. We're trying to find answers. Just in search.
Okay.
Ooh, I should join the Discord chat. Yes, you should. Just have 40 people call in and you guys all talk, and then I'll just sit here and be like, this is a cool podcast where I just get to listen to it. And then I can work on my fish tank.
Here she is to save the day.
So, in my fish tank news, we had some bad news. We're having to prepare ourselves for a fish funeral here. Sad days. Mr. Puffy has expired of what seems to be inexplicable. He's undiseased or anything. I honestly think it's just he's just was old and it was time, because his eyes, he was doing fine. Everything was great on Friday. His eyes looked a little bit cloudy, and I was like, what's going on with you, bud? Your eyes are looking cloudy. And then Saturday morning, I came out, and he was just laying down at the bottom, and I'm like, that's not normal. And yeah, he just kind of laid down and went to sleep. But Alyssa's here.
It's her fish room.
Alyssa knows Puffy. Alyssa took care of Puffy for the better part of a year and a half.
It was almost like 2 years.
It's like, hey, can you watch my fish for a minute? And you're like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, I'm stupid. So, but I did look at the date, and he was like 7 years old. So I'm like, they don't live much longer than that, Like, there was one guy that was reportedly saying that he had one that was 10 years old. And there was another person somewhere, I don't know where, but it was clearly English wasn't their first language, but they were like, I had one live to be 12. And I'm like, I don't know how well these people are actually tracking the years, because like 12 years ago was 2013. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's a long time ago.
Well, I'm glad that he got to live in the bigger tank for the last bit of his life instead of being stuck in 40.
Actually, he doesn't seem to care, as you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, most of the time he would just like lay on a sponge filter and be like, wow, space bed is amazing.
I mean, he wasn't into doing laps, you know what I mean? He wasn't a Tang, right? Like, he wasn't like, hey, bros, can we swim to China real quick and back? He was just like, hey, you got food? I'll eat it.
He would swim around if he was looking for food.
Yeah, he would like wander around. It's a puffer. He's not.
Yeah.
If they were an Olympic athlete, they are not on the medal podium. They're not making the podium. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. That's a shame, though. I'm sorry. That sucks.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's sad, but also he's a fish, and also he lived he lived a life. So
Lives the fishy thing.
yeah, it's a bummer, but we'll move on. The way I'm looking at it, because I was trying to figure out how to bring this up, and the definite positive here is that now I can clean the shit out of this tank and not have to worry about trying to keep a puffer fish in it. So
True.
it does free up that aspect of it, and not having to have fucking so much food in there all the time that you're like, how there's just algae, and like every time I test the water, it's like there's fucking dead snails in here somewhere that have been bit in half, rotting. Like obviously it's spiking fucking shit, so so I can go back to having an aquascaped tank with like what would be considered a huge aquascape tank, because it's 120 gallons.
That you can actually see into.
That'll have two shrimp in it, and
Ooh.
and like 3 guppies, and people will be fucking
Shocked, man.
yeah, people will be fucking enraged. They'll be like, son of a bitch, you gotta put a fucking paradise fish in there. I don't know. I can't even think what they're gonna yell at me about, but I'm sure it'll be something.
I have some paradise fish.
Or they'll probably tell me my rockscape is gay or something.
Yes, we all know
Yeah.
about gay rockscapes.
Yeah.
You can only
I
have
was gonna
straight
say that.
rocks.
That's
Or-
I
or-
put
Non-binary rock shapes.
heavy emphasis on
Heterosexual.
the dick root.
Yeah,
The V to the P, right? That's how that
yeah.
works.
You gotta have opposite rocks. Otherwise, you can't have all same rocks.
That's right.
No homo rocks. Only.
Or turn them
Hetero.
away from each other so they're not checking each other out.
Oh,
yeah,
I could
maybe
I
that.
could actually put up the sign "No meat gazing in the locker room."
If you just write "no homo" on the rocks, that's all you need.
Oh, I'm
Or
not
like
gonna.
one of them fish signs that say "no homo."
Oh, there you go. One of those
There
little
will be no people
those little
in the tank
those little
whatsoever.
$5 imported from China fish aquarium signs, the ceramic ones.
If you only get girl fish, it'll be totally straight at that point, because
No,
obviously girls can't be
Let's be
gay.
intense.
The girls are doing that all the time. I know it. Actually, I heard one of the funniest. I heard one of the funniest comedy things a bit the other day, and it was just kind of like Midwest, 50s something white dude, and he was talking about like, yeah, I was reading these articles, and over the years I've been coming up with, keep running into these encounters of, ladies who had a lesbian interaction at some point in time in their life, right? And he's like, it's always, me and Cheryl, we were hanging out and we had a couple glasses of wine, and this thing led to the next thing, and and then like that thing happened. It happened, right? And then he starts doing the guy version of it, like, yeah, me and John, we went out fishing, and we had a couple of beers, and then the next thing you know, we're just blowing each other, like, he goes into this whole thing, and I was like, yeah, it's not exactly the same, is it?
Well, I mean, as you know, as we all know, obviously this is just straight facts. If you have one penis in your whole life, it turns you to liking penis.
It turns you into what?
Into liking penis.
Oh,
That's the only thing that you like. See,
Oh.
you can have as much vagina as you want.
right. Even
But
if
if
it's
you
like,
have one time, just
oh,
one
that's
time.
right. Because even if it's like 300 to 1, it's still,
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, it's the
Yep,
old
that's how it
it's the old adage of the sheep fucker, right?
Yeah.
What's it? The guy's like, I spent 50 years of my life being a mason. You know, I erected this bridge over here, and I built the church over there, and I built the this, and I built the road, and this and that. But you fuck one sheep. You're a sheep fucker for the rest of your life.
That's right. You never remember me for anything else.
Nope.
Oh, that's terrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The more you know.
I gotta check out the aquarium guy's flower horn shirt. Is it super good?
Does it have flower horns on it? Because they aren't particularly attractive fish.
Aquarium guy's flower horn shirt.
It's better than wearing dirt.
Now I don't know what to tell you, but we have like a whole lot of flower horn shirts now to choose from. This one says "nice cock" on it.
Oh my.
Well, all
Like-
right then. That must.
And this is the perfect example of what I was talking about with dudes. Right? It's like somebody went and put this shirt. They created this shirt. It says "nice cock" with a KOK, right? Because that's what that's called, the fucking knob on the front of the fish's head, right?
I thought it was called a nupal hump.
Yeah, it's shortened because we're in America. We can't say the whole shit.
Oh,
And,
forgot. America.
We got a nickname.
and
so
so,
remember.
yeah, that's my point, is that guys are just, we're out of our minds. We're crazed. Flower horns, a vibrant aquatic adventure. I don't know. I don't know where the aquarium guy's shirt is. And you can't share links on the YouTube chat, because the next thing you know what happens, guys, if you can share links on the YouTube chat, then we just have porn links all day showing up, and people click on them, and then they get sent off into the abyss.
Into
The aquarium
porn
guys.
list.
Oh no, this video is who is the aquarium guys. Maybe if I go to the video, I bet
The
you
ones that
there's a
matter
description. Let's see. I bet you there's a description. YouTube, the aquarium guys, and then if we go here, they have videos. Not really videos, mostly podcasts. Okay, so they have a podcast. Let's see. On paludarium, snail invasion, beta fighting. What's pandemonium?
I don't know if there's going to be pandas and fish tanks.
Probably pandas. I can't, dude. I got to tell you guys, when I went to Washington D.C., I got to see pandas, and I got to take pictures of pandas. And
They're so cool.
you know, it's weird because it was like, this is the only time I'm ever going to, it's the only time I'm ever going to be able to take a picture of a panda. Like, that's the reality, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck their merch is. I can't find it. New subscriber from Brandon's channel. Hey guys, saw you on live with Brandon. Brent. Oh, sorry,
What's his
Brant.
face?
What is it? Brantois.
Brantuan.
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 Brantuan. Got it.
Brantuan.
Thanks for the show. I'm listening while I'm working. I don't know where their merch is. I can't find their shirt, and I don't know where their merch is. You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to reach out to my mom and send her an email on Facebook. Because she's a boomer, and she's on Facebook. She told me the other day she was thinking about deleting her Facebook account because there's so much misinformation on there, and it seems to her like her friends are going crazy.
Shocking.
Some of her friends are going crazy, and I'm like, yes, your friends are going crazy. That's why we have stupid orange man in the fucking Oval Office. Your friends.
Oh my God.
Your friends have
The
gone
napper.
crazy. Your friends have gone crazy, and they've also empowered the people to feed everybody's feed filled with
Stupidity.
bullshit from the
Craziness.
Heritage Society and bullshit from all of these Russian-funded actors to try and, air quote, bring back conservative ideals, right? Which is the most insane thing. I never thought I would see this in my lifetime of, like, 19-year-old men from Ohio that want to be oppressed by whatever church to tell them what to do for the rest of their life. I never thought I would see this ever. I think what's ultimately going to become really funny in a very disgusting and sad way is when the church comes to take their guns away, right? And when the church comes to tell them that whether they can import something or not, or whether they can or can't do certain things on certain days, and whether they're
more
allowed to wear
importantly-
cotton, they're allowed to wear cotton with wool or not. Yeah.
Whether they can marry or not, or if they're good enough to pass on their genes, that only these elite get women, you were going to shun.
Right. You can do a background check to find out if anybody in your family has autism, and then determine that your blood isn't good enough to reproduce, right? It's going to be weird.
Away from my blood, man.
It's going to be a weird moment. It's going to be a weird moment in time. I wonder how they're going to oppose it or stand up to it, or if they're just going to lay down and cry, and just like let it happen. That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm currently wondering. That's what I'm deeply pondering. The Midwest of America is just going to lay down and take it, because there was like this big story that the farmers realized that.
Oh my God, tariffs hurt.
Oh yeah, the dipshit Trump put all these stupid tariffs in place, and then all of a sudden they had to pay all these outrageous prices for the things that they regularly buy, because no matter how many American flags they have on their Dodge pickup truck, they buy things from outside the country to do all of the things that they do. It doesn't matter how many American
Including
flags.
the American flag.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many American flags you have hanging off of the back of your GMC dually fucking diesel while you blast down the highway that are all made in China. It doesn't matter how many of those American flags you have on your truck, because it's just a cosplay, okay? When I say it's just a cosplay, it's that none of these people actually live by any of the ideals that they claim to profess as virtuous or important to them. They don't follow any of them, because they first and foremost don't actually care about the community, because they don't do any community service. There is no community service from these people. Occasionally,
But I shouldn't have to do community service. I'm white.
when
I
the church
tithe to the church. They do it for me.
gave money to the church, so the church is going to do the charity for me.
Right.
Because you saved money buying all of your shit from outside the country, right?
I need to employ my fellow man. I just need him to get a job.
Well, now that they've fallen for it, and they realize that, wait a minute, if the manufacturing does come back to the U.S., it's not jobs. It's not returning jobs to the U.S. All it will be doing is employing the robots. I'm not 100% sure what they're going to feel like when the prices are 2 to 3 times the price now, and the person that the air quote person that you're paying that extra money to is actually just a CEO who is already pulling down, $48 million a year, because they're only employing robots to do the work. And I mean, like, even on a superficial level, like, if you want to just look at the proposed future that they want for you, let's go no further than the supposed super genius Elon Musk, who wants to sell you a car, actually wants to sell you 3 or 4 cars that will all be self-driven taxi cars, right? So that you, as the owner of the car, can make money from that car being a taxi cab driver, right? Now, one of the first things that people need to realize with that is that every city, every county, and every state in the United States requires you to have a taxi placard on your car. It's a license, and it's a physical little license, that I don't know if they make you staple it on your car anymore, if you can put it in the glove box or not, but you have to have a taxi license in order to be making money off of it. So
Call it a medallion.
you have to first and foremost start to sit back and think about, wait a minute, how much insurance do I need to have on my car that's driving humans around and I'm not even there, right? And if that car gets in a crash and I don't have enough insurance, what's the penalty for not having enough insurance and some people die in the car crash? How does this work? Let's say you owe $4 million in fucking damages to people that got into that car crash, right? What happens when you get down the line of you owe this money? Well, you're going to lose your house, lose all your property. The court will liquidate all your property. And then if you still can't pay, guess what happens?
You get to go to jail.
You get to go to jail. You get to get locked up in a cage like a zoo animal. We talked about zoos today. Oh, yeah, the zoo with the panda. Just like the pandas. Actually, you'll be living in a much worse situation than the pandas were. They had a pretty big enclosure. And honestly, they seemed like they were enjoying it. One of the few animals I've ever seen at the zoo that was like, I'm cool with this vibe.
I sit here, they feed me. All good.
Yeah. They like flop around a little bit, you know, they roll around. They're not doing too much. They're kind of like the puffers of the land, you know? They're like, just bring me some snacks. I'm into it. Sorry, Zip Gun says, remember when they line they okay, sorry. Remember when the line they were parroting was the government shouldn't give money to the poor. That is what the church is supposed to do. Yeah, they still use that. They use that line every day. They still use that line. I don't remember when. I read that somewhere not that long ago. Like, that's what the church is supposed to do. There's been a lot of talk because the Pope died. There's been a lot of church talk lately because the Pope died. Because just like our current political system, the Catholic Church does the same thing. They put these people into power that are 900 years old, right? And then we're shocked when they die, right? Like, oh, his tenure is over. And you're like,
Satan?
he was 80 something years old. What are we talking about? A lot of people have been talking about how, Harvard, because they have $53 billion, right? They're going to be able to stand up for our civil rights. They're going to say they're going to be able to do it because they got $53 billion. And I wanted to look this up, and I'd forgot to look it up ahead of time. The Catholic Church is estimated to be worth $265 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, is that all?
Not much at all. The Vatican alone has got to be just astronomically crammed with riches.
Well, the Vatican, an independent city-state at the heart of the church, has its own financial assets, which are estimated to be around $15 billion, right? And you go like, okay, so Harvard's worth $50 billion, and they're supposed to protect our civil rights, and yet the Catholic Church, at 5 times the size, and they have like an endless sea of weird people that like, they get down on their knees and they pray and they cry and they give them money every day, every week, and yet those guys aren't doing anything to protect anybody's civil rights, and that Pope was supposedly like this super progressive Pope, right?
Yeah.
Which his whole thing is like, yeah, no, there just should be a place for everybody. That there just should be that Pope was basically just like, yeah, the church shouldn't turn anybody away, and that the church should be for everybody. And somehow this guy was like supposedly super progressive, and you're like,
Right.
Okay,
As
but
far
what's
as
all?
Pope go, yeah.
It's like, yeah, but okay, but like, well, also, what's all the other stuff you're doing?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Not
What's
going
all,
to
what's
turn
all the
anybody
other
away.
stuff that's going on here?
We still have issues with small young boys, but other than that.
Yeah, well, and the hundreds and hundreds of priests that have been abusing them, but never mind
Exactly.
that. Right.
Right. Right.
But it's also one of the weird things is that I was listening to what's his name? He's like a historian. He's a religious historian. Let me find it. Let's see.
Actually, it's funny you should mention it. There's a religious historian named Joel Christensen.
There is one. He's out of Portland.
I noticed that.
I can't figure out which historian it was that I was listening to. That was. I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point. I tried. I'll figure it out. I'll probably remember it later. But he was talking about it that like he was saying it's really funny how the Catholic priests used to not have to live a life of celibacy, and they introduced it at one point. And then, lo and behold, you come to find out that like these dudes who are the only people that can be priests in that stupid church, or any church really, because the whole point is just to oppress people, right? And if you can't oppress like at least half of the population, then what's the point? You know what I mean? And so you might as well just oppress all the women. Oh, holy shit! Skog Shrimp and stuff with a big super chat, a $50 super chat, which is strong.
We're gonna have a Friday. Go on.
It's 10 super chats. I don't understand how many times I've told you this.
Yeah, it's the amount.
It's not the
Did
amount.
he have to go in and do them individually?
This shit right here says 2 out of 10 to reach the goal.
Oh, he had to go do them individually. You are loopholing. Anyway, go on.
I'm not loopholing. It's the goddamn goal. By the way, it makes you do it that way.
I know. I'm well aware of that. It annoys the fuck out of me.
It makes you do it that way. It's like, you got to do this. I could have done 50. 50 is as high as you could go. The reality was
you annoyed me.
What I wanted to do today was I wanted to set it up as 1,000, and I would just say, if you do 1,000 super chats, I'll go full time. But then I realized like it would have to be like 1,000. I don't even know what the number would be.
Right.
1,000
like,
maximum.
Is it like $1,500 super chats? But then I was like, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of
way
money.
More than we can pull.
I'm just saying. If somebody comes up with
what's the cut that YouTube takes again for super chats? Is it 30% or something?
Too much.
Yeah. So when you get into that kind of dollars, just
so then
call me up.
Like 200,000 for the year.
Just call me up. You're probably not getting a blow job, but you'll get a hand job at least. I'm just saying for $500,000. I mean, like.
Right.
I mean, I've done that shit for free. So I mean, if I'm gonna get money for it, like fucking why not?
I feel like if you ask Vicky, like, hey Vicky,
we've discussed it. We've discussed it.
Much.
Hey, we're in a lifetime relationship. Okay, we've discussed that long ago. It's like, hey man,
do what you've got to.
If someone's giving me fucking I don't even know. I mean, if it's $20, it's not cool, right?
Right. Yeah, that's practically free in this economy.
I was like, if it's $20, that's not good, But we obviously it would have to be a dollar amount conversation, right?
Right.
But $500,000 is life-changing money, and so I feel like that falls in the category.
Yeah.
Speaking of $500,000, I need you guys to go buy the greatest tool of all time. Oh, fuck, my chat crashed. I'm running low on RAM. I'm running low on RAM again.
Damn it.
What I have to do, what I have to do is
black
completely
human
change. What I have to do is completely change my streaming setup so that the stream is actually going through that computer. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not too enthusiastic about doing that amount of work for the stream. When I'm like, yeah, but what if this computer just blows up? Then we could just build a new one. And the thing that pisses me off is that, like, you remember when my old computer blew up? Actually, I don't even think Witchy Cat was around back then. My old I built a computer that was going to be my stream computer, and then I ran it for a couple years, and then one day the CPU fried in it. It just was like, "Fuck you, we're exploded," you know.
Oh no.
And like we're a CPU, and we are no more, right?
Okay.
But it was going to cost more money to get a CPU that would fit into that motherboard than it was to just get a new motherboard and CPU.
Right.
And
Always a
that's what
annoying thing.
that's what this computer is right now. That's what this computer is. Again, we've gone through the cycle.
That's for the change.
Well, I built this computer to replace that one, and then now we are at the point in time, like chronologically, that if the chip in this fries, it's more expensive to find a chip than it is to just get a new motherboard.
Just buy a new set.
Which is crazy because I think the RAM on this is probably too old too. I don't know.
Right, you'd need to upgrade to the
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy stupid. Like, and I know that you know it, but like, let me see. Hold on, before I check for this, there's two things I got to tell you guys about. There's a link in the chat for the greatest tool of all time. Those are the Cobra pliers made by Knipex, and you can buy them off of Amazon. And then here's a link for another tool that is a great invention. There's a vibrator for the ladies. So if you're into buying two different things from Amazon, you can buy them through our link, and we get a commission for that. So follow the link, go to Amazon, and then, by the way, you don't have to buy anything I actually linked. Just buy your shit right away, and the cookie will be stored in your device that said I sent you to Amazon, and then I'll get a commission. But let's go to Amazon real quick, because I'm going to change the Amazon page here. That's why I was going to do that part.
upgrade computer stuff.
Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, here's what's insane. Actually, I don't think... So this computer is actually a Threadripper, so we got to go find a Threadripper that will fit this chip. Yeah, $1,500 for a CPU. That seems to be the cheapest one.
Ouch.
Yeah, whereas the AMD Ryzen 9 5950X is $311 right now. This Threadripper chip is $2,780. This one's $4,279. It's because what happens is with CPUs is that they outdate, like essentially the motherboard chipset gets, they stop making it, right? They just send it. They're like, we're done doing that. We don't do that anymore. And so whatever's in stock is what they have made, and they're not going to make any more. And so because of the limited supply, all of a sudden the price goes up. It's basic economics, right? I mean, it's hardly even basic economics. It's like you better know this before you go to economics class. So the price ends up going like way up, and the availability goes way down, and eventually somebody's sitting there and they think that they have like Spider-Man first edition, like mint condition first Spider-Man, and they're like, this thing's worth $20,000 or whatever, right? And you're like, this can't be true. And so what you end up doing is having to tear down the whole system and rebuild it again. But I do have Witchy Cat's monitor here, and it's working.
Yay!
So we got that going. Nothing fits on my desk anymore.
Bit by bit, I'm donating computer parts. Here's some memory.
I did take your RAM, and it's in that computer over there. I swapped it. So
See?
I got your RAM and your monitor. Which I will say, there was a mouse had been living in that box at some point.
Oh no! No!
No, it's fine. I mean, he had only gone into one part and made a little area, and then I don't know where he went. I never found his corpse or live body or
children or.
There wasn't really signs of a nest, so I'm not sure if he was just going in there and getting material and then taking it somewhere else. That was what I was feeling, the vibe. Right, it was like, hey, I found this styrofoam. This is great material. I'm going to take it elsewhere. What was the thing I was going to look up? There was a thing I was going to look up. I don't remember what it was.
It was the computer chip, but you already did that.
I did that, and then there was a thing I was going to look up.
For those that don't know, the monitor used to live in a vehicle in the middle of a field that is just sitting there collecting rodents at this time. Huh.
Yeah, where is that? Where I wonder what the Spider-Man 1 is worth. Spider-Man First Edition, 1963, First Series, $9,000.
Oh, that's
a lot less than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that for like a good condition as opposed to like a mint?
Let me go to the site. Let me go to the site and take a look.
All right.
So,
I just sent you a new map of the cities who have agreed, whose law enforcement has officially agreed to be contracted by ICE to offer services.
who?
Cities who have officially agreed to offer their law enforcement communities to ICE for immigration services.
You sent me a PDF?
I did. It was the only way that it was available.
Goddamn motherfucker.
It'll
U.S.
open
Immigration
in
and Customs
Opera.
Enforcement. What's that?
I said it'll open in Opera. Don't pass me out. Go on.
It will, but then I got to open this tab, and then I got to open that tab, and then I got to do this. So this is a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE operates 3 287G models, jail enforcement model, task force model, and the warrant service officer. Look at this, Florida.
Yeah, Florida. The only time it's ever been blue. Of
No.
late.
I mean, the problem is that, like, most of the people that I talk to that they claim to be these, like, staunch conservative, like, down with Trump, this and that and the other thing. And the reality is that when I sit down with them and actively have a conversation about what it is that what are your policies? Like, don't tell me you like Trump, right? Like, tell me what your policy prescriptions are for what you think the United States should look like. What do you think that the policing should look like? What do you think should be a crime or not a crime? What do you think, because like a perfect example here with with ICE. Like, ICE should just be abolished. Like, just from a standpoint of, like, if you're a conservative and you want a smaller government, what's this whole ass extra agency that we're paying for, right?
Mhm.
Like, if you claim to be small government, why are you having all these extra agencies to do this shit, right? Like ICE. And you go and they go, oh no, ICE is good because it's going to get the illegals, right? And you go, their current track record is not good this year, right? Like they're literally deporting people who are illegally being deported. Every court has ruled against them that this deportation is incorrect. How they've gone about doing it is incorrect. Where they're sending them to is incorrect. Every court. There hasn't been a single court, all the way up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court was like, no, this is ridiculous.
Right.
As opposed to like the actions that they're taking. Every court has ruled against them in the fact that like they're making disgusting mistakes with even just the wrong people, right?
Right.
And you go like, why are we paying for this whole ass extra agency that's burning all this money and doing shit wrong? And if you're supposedly a conservative that is wanting to shrink the government and save us our taxpayer money, why are you in favor of this, right? And you know, when I end up having these conversations, we boil down to the point where it's like, no, you're not actually a conservative. You're just somebody who hates everybody else. Like, that's basically what it is. Or
A bigot.
or you get down into the conversation where you go like, no, you're either like classically liberal or a social democrat more than anything, right? But then because they've been listening to these fucking crazy air quote news channels and shit like that, like, and I go harken all the way back to like Rush Limbaugh, you know. They've been listening to that shit for so long that they go, oh my God, and they're detested by it, right? And you go like, it's not that you're disgusted by what it is that social democrats want to do. You're disgusted by this idea of a label, right? And it's the same kind of thing. Like, did you touch a dick once? Oh, that makes you gay. You're gay forever, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing here, you know? And a lot of American politics is boiling down to that kind of shit right now, where it's like, oh, do you wear a red shirt or a blue shirt? You know, and it's like red team versus blue team. Like Rooster Teeth is laughing their asses off at the fact that like the thing that they made fun of has become true. You know, even though those guys went out of business. You know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's like my biggest problem. My biggest problem right now is that like these people that are supposedly identifying themselves as MAGA or air quote conservative or whatever, it's like they aren't even, because they don't even know what the fuck it is that they're voting for, right? Like how many instances is there going to be that like the leopard ate your face? Like, no shit. Of course the leopard ate your face. That's what leopards do, you know?
Yeah.
They sure do love eating faces,
It's the weird thing.
but not
True.
my face.
Do you have
Other
a lot of
people's
leopards? Oh, I
Oh,
see.
yeah, obviously.
Okay.
They're good boys.
Such a weirdo.
I'm having to look up the comic book grading scale.
Ah, he's still back on Spider-Man.
So
Don't
this
mind
Spider-Man is a 1.8, which I was trying to remember which direction the scale went. Low is bad, high is good. 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. Sorry.
Okay.
But this one's a 1.8, which is a good minus, which means that like it's pretty much there. Like, it has some issues. It's been opened, you know, like it's not perfect. it's graded at a 1.8, right?
And it's still $9,000.
Yeah, but I mean, it's. I'm sure this is negotiable. You could probably make an offer. Yeah, please create an account or log in to make an offer. Yeah. So but I'm saying like that one was $9,000. Here's what's this one graded? Amazing Spider-Man #1. Oh, this one's graded 9.4. And it's only listed at $2,200.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, that gives you something to negotiate with.
And makes you
wonder
wonder whether there's some
here's
false
why this
grading
is.
going on.
It's the first series reprint, but it was reprinted. It was
reissue.
reprinted in '66 as opposed to '63. So you're still getting a real old book. That one's only $2,200. Here's an original that's graded a 3. This one is $12,000 listed. Here's a 2.5. See if we can't find one. Let's see if we can't find one that's like, this is the coup de grace. We need the coup de grace. Let's stick with our French bullshits. This one's a 3.5.
So not where I was going with Brantoine, but okay.
This one's a 3.5 for $11,000.
Iro? No.
The back page is wonderful. The wonderful back page on this comic book. Make $5 to $20 a week extra operating this air quote Saturday morning shoe store. So you go around door to door and sell shoes to people. Crazy.
Because
Let's see.
That just sounds like something you do if you like feet.
Oh, like if you're into feet.
Yeah. If you're like me, you know what I want to do is I want to see people's feet.
Oh. Here's a Spider-Man comic I used to own from 1990. They only want $118 for it, so I'm not mad. I don't have that anymore. I sold all my comic books from when I was a kid. Quite a while ago, actually.
I only ever had one full set of comic books, and I'm still mad at myself for selling it because it was a first run edition of Vampirella.
Sounds sexy.
Oh, yes, it was. And I also sold my GTO that year, and I'm not sure which I'm madder about. Probably the GTO, but they were pretty similarly priced worth-wise.
I think I'm going to mute myself again because I realize that cutting acrylic is really loud and irritating sounding, so I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, you're making a lot of noise over there. I figure people are just enjoying the ruckus.
I mean, maybe. Are they? We should take a poll.
Start a poll?
We're vicariously dealing with our fish room through your fish room's noises, whether we have one or not.
I will continue to cut this acrylic.
Oh, dear God. No, you won't.
What the fuck is...
I'll mute it, but take a poll and see what people say.
There we go. We've started a poll. It's so good. Is anybody going to vote? 100% no. Okay. We started out at 100% no. It's interesting to see the split between conservatives and MAGA. He's still conservative, but he isn't supporting this crap. Last week, on one of the Bulwark's videos, Bill Crystal asked, "Where does the abolish ICE movement go to get their apology?" Actually, I did hear that. I listen to Tim Miller fairly often. And the weird thing is that like I don't even know that Bill Crystal actually is or maybe just like like classic conservative people are just reasonable. But I think Bill Kristol is an exceptionally like reasonable. I mean, he's not a debater or whatever. He just has like a pretty. He's just like a reasonable, even-keeled guy. Where he's like, well, that's crazy, and you wouldn't want to do that. But like, hey, let's try this middle ground thing. I mean, I don't even know. I guess I would just call him like a moderate more than anything if I was trying to put a label on him. But maybe he is like super conservative, where abortion should be illegal because reasons, right? Like, you know.
Right.
Some have paid a big political price and still stand by their opposition to MAGA. I find it refreshing. I mean, you know, realistically, like I do find it refreshing that there are people in the Republican or that consider themselves Republicans that they are willing to oppose this nonsense, like this pure clown show. But I kind of come at it with a lot more heavy skepticism, right? Because if your lifelong, like, foundational belief system was founded in ultimately oppressing people's rights for the last 60 years, and then all of a sudden you want a free pass now because you don't agree with like
You're still not as bad as those
sociopathic, like ridiculously stupid behavior. It's like, I don't think that grants like a pat on the back. Like, oh wow, you're opposed to serial killers. Whoa, you know, like, I don't.
It's totally okay to just do a one-off, but no multiples.
Yeah, I mean, and realistically, like, and people have been criticizing me for having this opinion, but the current administration are on the level of serial killers, right? Like, even if you just take into account the 263 people that we know of, and we don't know how many more they've sent, that they sent to what is essentially like a black hole on the earth. They sent all of these people to El Salvador, where the president of El Salvador is like self-promoting like how disgustingly bad the conditions are, intentionally terrible in that prison. Like, it's designed to be terrible. That's the whole point. It's supposed to be a deterrent. And I recently had somebody attempt to explain to me that El Salvador had the highest murder rate in the world, and now they don't. Right.
I'd have sworn that was Colombia, but okay.
Which, I mean, let's argue about murder rates. I don't think is necessarily the point. Because, I mean, you can't really give me a good murder rate for what's going on in Cambodia or Uganda or the Congo, right? Like, can you tell me what's going on in the Congo? You're not going to get good numbers from any of these places. So was El Salvador like the murder capital of the world? Like, statistically speaking, it probably was not good. But
yeah, is that something to strive for? Anyway.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's something to strive for. What I'm saying is that you can't validate that statement.
Right.
Right? Because it's only being validated by the people that are in power now in El Salvador, right? And it's one dictator who is a self-appointed and is happy to tell you that he's a dictator, right? Although he can't send people out of the prison. He can't do that. It's not in his power. Because he's a liar. But the reason I bring this up is that, you know, these people are essentially being sentenced to death, right? Like, they're just going to go there. They're never going to get out. They're never going to let them out. They're essentially torturing these people. Like, that's the whole point, right? It's not a prison that is going to rehabilitate. It is not a prison that is going to help these people become a new member of society. These people are not going to be helpful to society. These people are literally there to be punished, and that's their own description of it. And you got to imagine if somebody's releasing their own description of it in that way, how bad is it actually, right? Because everyone likes to paint the picture for themselves in the best light, right? And for the administration to voluntarily send 263 people, which, by the way, raises you to the category of mass murderer / serial killer. Serial killer if you've done it on multiple occasions, which they have, and mass murderer if it's over 4, right? So we've met both qualifications for whichever one you want to classify this as. I classify it as a serial killer because serial killer type behavior because they're planning on doing it again and they're talking about doing it again, right? They're sending these people off, and people are applauding this behavior. And not only are they applauding this behavior, they're encouraging this behavior, right? And then for somebody who has been a Republican for like 60 years or whatever to come out and be like, oh, I find that to be bad. And you're like, oh, you find that to be bad is somehow like a courageous statement or whatever. Like I want to encourage people to take a minute, step back, look at what is happening, really evaluate what it is that you think it is to be American, what it is to be somebody who supports the document of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the amendments that we've made to the Constitution. If you're going to support those, I really want you to sit down, read them, and see what that means. Because I even recently got in a conversation online, so it's lacking the verbal back and forth, right? It's more of the written back and forth of that. Those people that came here have committed a crime, okay? And for some reason, a lot of Americans are thinking that that is somehow a crime where you could be sentenced to death, which is absurd, right? The crime of entering the country. Now, for decades and decades and decades, by the way, prescribed by the United States government standard way of entering the U.S. was to take your human body and place it onto human soil or onto American soil, whether that be at one of the 1,000 U.S. bases that we have around the world, whether that be in Guam or Puerto Rico or any of the territories that we occupy, or that be at any of the embassies that we are inhabiting that are air quote U.S. soil, to take your human body and stand it, place it onto U.S. soil and declare your intention, right? Now, your intention may be, I wish to enter the United States. Why? I'm looking for a job. Why? And these are multiple reasons, not all from one person, but like the many varied reasons that people could want to live. It's too dangerous in El Salvador, so I'm fleeing, and I want to come to America because I'm told, right? Like, this is where you could come. It seems to be what the United States was all about, so they're here. Now, that air quote, when I call that a crime, it actually was classified as a crime. It was a Class 3 civil infraction, okay? Now, the reason that there was a crime attached to having done that is so that you could start to engage with the judicial system, right? The judiciary needs to process this person. And when I say the judiciary branch, I mean get into a court, declare who you are, find out who the fuck this guy is. Is he the Ted Bundy of El Salvador? If he is, we need to put handcuffs on him and send him back to El Salvador and potentially put him into detention there somehow with their judicial system, right? Or is this actually a person that's like, look, I'm running away. The gangs killed my brother. They killed my sister. My parents can't help me because they're 1,000 years old and they're dying, or I don't know what the situation is, but they're like, look, I'm running away from what could only be considered an extraordinarily dangerous situation, so I need to seek asylum. And then they go, okay, you have committed the civil infraction of being on the United States soil, and now that you've declared your intention, now we need to get you into the judicial system, right? And now with that civil infraction would give them a reason to go, okay, we need to detain you. We're going to take your fingerprints. We're going to find out who you say you are, and we're going to investigate who it is that you say you are, right? Well, in the previous Trump administration, they went in with an executive order and changed that from a civil infraction to a criminal infraction. That is only a very recent change of events. So if somebody happens to be reading, I don't know, some kind of piece of paper with shit written on it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about this. Maybe you guys are so internet brained that you've never heard about it.
It's one of these paper news things.
Like, let's say you're in Chile and you don't have access to a Google search or a fucking library that you could go to, right? Where you could be like, all right, I need to get on the internet and I need to get some resources going here because I need to get to, I'm trying to get out of Chile, right? Well, let's say you happen to go find a periodical that actually says, oh, hey, here it is. In my native language, it says, this is what it's talking about. It's talking about this is how you go to America and this is what you're doing. Because, by the way, the United States ourselves released a shitload of that documentation ourselves. We published it. We sent it out abroad so that people would understand, like, hey, here's what you need to do. For decades, right? So, or how about somebody that's 25 years old and goes and talks to somebody who is 55 years old, and they're like, yeah, I've always heard this is what you go do, because they only know from word of mouth, and they maybe don't have like a ton of time where they sit around on the internet looking up, like, has the United States changed their immigration law system? Like, you know, like you're going to be down in Argentina doing some light reading about the potential immigration law changes in the United States. It's probably not going to happen because you're Argentinian and you're like dealing with the shit that's going on in Argentina. And it's one of those things that, like, I don't think a lot of these Americans even fucking grasp the concept that there are other parts of the planet that aren't sitting around on bated breath wondering what the fuck Mitch McConnell is going to do next, right? Like, people in Thailand have no idea who the fuck Mitch McConnell is. Just the same way that I don't have a clue what the governor in whatever province in Thailand is. I don't know. You could make up a name and say, this is the guy, and I would probably be like, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Should we look that up? Let's go take a look. But other parts of the world are not paying attention to what is directly happening in the inside politic of the United States at all times, like we are, right? And so then those people come here, and that law has changed. Now suddenly they're hit with a criminal offense. They've committed a crime, and now they've entered the system as having committed a crime, right? And now these fucking creepy plastic surgeon victim fucking weirdos from Fox News are like, that guy's a criminal because he committed a crime. Obviously, he's a criminal. He committed a crime. Look, it's right here.
Yeah.
All just so that you could send them to a fucking death camp in another country. Which, by the way, this happened before. Right? This has happened before. They put the fucking intern camps and the prison camps in Poland for a reason. right?
Even Guantanamo, if we want to look at it from our own stance.
And we can talk about Guantanamo. I mean, there's fucking...
Yeah.
I mean, look, we could get into a big, long discussion about Guantanamo. There's 60 people there. What do you want me to do? You know?
No,
like,
I just meant that technically it's not on... It's on territorial soil, not country soil.
Yeah, it's territorial soil.
Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to derail. Go.
Well, now I want to check.
Sorry.
Yeah, here it is. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, the D.C. Circuit, granted a petition for rehearing N. Bach in Al-Hela versus Biden, vacating a 3-judge panel opinion holding that law of war prisoners detained at the U.S. Naval Station at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, are not entitled to due process under the Constitution. The decision to rehear the case may not necessarily portend good news for the detainee because the D.C. Circuit has in multiple cases declined to decide the question, at one point overturning a district court ruling denying that Guantanamo detainees are entitled to constitutional due process, expressly leaving the question undecided. The D.C. Circuit has preferred instead to avoid the constitutional question by assuming, without deciding, that detainees are entitled to such rights, but that typically petitioners have received all of the process that is due. Consequently, it seems likely that the D.C. Circuit, on hearing Al-Hela, will be voting on deciding whether Guantanamo detainees have due process rights, but may not necessarily decide the issue. If the D.C. Circuit determines Al-Hela is the proper vehicle for deciding the due process question, the answer will likely turn on which Supreme Court precedent the court deems controlling, which is a long way to explain that, like, this has been in the court for years and years and years of trying to figure out if the detainees at Guantanamo are entitled to due process. Now, the reason that I bring this up just now is for a selfish reason. Because how long did it take the fucking Supreme Court to judge whether or not these people that have been deported to El Salvador are eligible for due process? An hour? 2 hours? It took them no time at all to say, oh, these people are entitled to due process. Yes, 100%. Yes, for sure. In a 9-0 vote. Now, the Guantanamo question has been going on for 3 decades now. We don't even know what the fuck they're going to do next time. What are they going to say next time? I don't know. But it's been going on for 3 decades. Now, these people that have been fucking air freighted to a fucking murder prison camp, whatever you want to call this place, detention center of death, it took them a couple of hours in a 9-0 vote, or sorry, a 9-0 decision, which just essentially means that they're unanimously agreeing without a vote, right? That these people that have been sent out into El Salvador are 100% deserving of due process. And none of them were given it. Vigilum says, proud of you, Joel. Nice. And probably in the fact that I've crested the 4,000 days sober. I believe today is 4,002. We got to check. Sorry, today's 4,004. Days consecutively sober, you know? So, congratulations, I guess, to me. I don't know.
Take a bow.
I can't take a bow.
fine.
I'm sitting down,
You'll
bro.
fall out of your chair. I know, you'll fall out of your chair.
Sounds like you wandered away. You did, didn't you?
I sort of did. I'm back. I'm back.
Oh, you did. You wandered away.
I
You're
didn't want
probably
to
out
clap
there.
loud.
Probably out there cutting some goddamn firewood or something. You get the sun out today, or what's going on up there?
No, it's gray. It's nice. It's not. I need to get my shade up over my greenhouse because we have started reaching 85 to 90 in the cabin again. And I don't want to put the air conditioner in my window if I'm going to leave in 2 weeks. So
it's getting heated.
it is. Things are getting heated, baby. Heated. So.
Are you leaving in 2 weeks? When are you leaving?
1 week, I think. I've got to be in Spokane on the 1st. I'll come back here for a couple of days, and then I'm heading west, probably the 5th or the 6th. So, the goal is to. We'll see, though. I'm been a very disheartening weekend. Let's put it that way. So, who knows?
What happened to you? Did you fart a lot?
No, that's not disheartening. That's relieving. No, just trying to not watch people act against their own self-interests despite talking about how much they desire to act in their own self-interest. Yeah. Oh, we've got to work as a community. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. Okay, let's make it happen. Crickets. Crickets. All right, well, I guess we're not going to make it happen. Well, tell us what to do. Like, why is it up to me to tell you how to organize your local groups? No. I'm not in insert random state or city here.
Right. Can you help me? I'm in Michigan.
Right, exactly.
Lots of de-icer, I would guess.
Right. Find a public place. Go meet each other. Get a beat on each other. Is this somebody you could trust or work with? Are you willing to start building that kind of trust in case something goes wrong? Like the shelves are going to be empty in 3 weeks because there's no ships in port? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, there's recently one of our local ports had they have to release numbers. They have to release numbers to let people know how many ships and whatnot are coming in and out of the port, and what the volume is going to look like, because it's like a part of the DOT agreement. And then the on top of that, they also have to file a lot of paperwork to let people know, like, how many trucks are going across the road, to tell the DOT like what's going on, and they have to file this stuff, and you can find out what's going on. And they currently have like 60 ships coming in, and apparently the volume after that is dropping off by like 75%. And then the local trucking company has started to furlough a ton of people because they're not going to because they're not gonna have containers to drive anywhere. So the trucking company's already going, what the fuck? What is happening? You know? And a lot of it turns out that you put a gigantic imaginary tariff, then you take the tariff off, then you put the tariff back on, then you raise the tariff, then you lower the tariff, then you cut it in half, then you make up a bunch of shit, you wander around, you shit your pants, you say a bunch of bullshit on TV, you do random nonsense, you go golfing a whole bunch, you do all this bullshit, and the meanwhile, like, China was like, oh, I guess we just won't send anything then.
Yep, and that's the issue.
And they're like,
trying to
we'll
tell
just...
people, they're like, well, we got through COVID. And you're like, yes, but COVID, they were still willing to send us stuff. They're done. There aren't going to be ships sitting out there waiting for somebody to come unload them. There's nothing coming, boys and girls.
Well, it's not that there's nothing coming. It's just not. It's not going to be good. The volume is
For
dropping.
Seattle. Ports like Seattle and LA and San Francisco that count predominantly on Asian shipping are going to take the worst hit. But yeah.
Well, they all do, by the way. If you're thinking it's only the West Coast,
No.
that's not the case. They ship all the way around to Philadelphia, Boston, all that. But the bigger thing is that the timelines are different.
Right.
It takes more days to go farther, right?
Right.
So the Texas ports are getting a slowdown in 45 days from April 6th. We're getting ours in 24 days or 26 days or something like that.
They're saying like
it's
May
just
10th-ish.
below 30. It's just below 30 days for the West Coast where the slowdown will start.
Yep.
Because that's about how many days it takes, depending on what's going on. So, like, if the weather's really good, the boat can come a little bit faster. They don't go extraordinarily fast all of a sudden because the weather's nice. They just incrementally go a little bit faster. And mainly, it has more to do with, like, the wind than anything else. And... you know, we're going to start seeing it here because it's a shorter timetable to where we're going to start seeing this big drop off in boats. And, you know, this last week, the CEOs of like Walmart, Home Depot, Target, like all of the big retailers. I forget who it was.
I only saw Walmart, Costco, and Target, but those were the three that I saw.
I don't think Costco didn't go. No.
Okay.
It says right here.
I must have misread it.
President Donald Trump met with major retailers, including Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and Target on Monday. And there was a picture of it. I don't know where the picture was, but it was like old Skeletor looking fucking white dudes all just like, we're here to yell at Trump while I cry and gargle his balls, you know. Bruce D says, hey, Joel, for a large tank using a sump, is it better to have just one back corner overflow or two corner overflows or just one overflow in the middle back of the tank? A lot of this just has to do with personal preference. I prefer one overflow in the left corner. Don't ask me why. I like it to be on the left side. And I want one overflow that feeds into a duplicate system. So there's a standpipe where the water's going down, and there's also an emergency standpipe to, in case something happens and it starts to overflow, it goes into the emergency standpipe. The emergency standpipe doesn't have any kinks or valves or any bullshit in it. It is a straight shot down the sump. Whereas the standard overflow has valves in it and turns and all that shit because I want to set how much water is going down there. Now, every once on a blue moon, some chunk of something will get through the screen. And over time, we'll occasionally get caught on the edge of that valve that's down there, which is a gate valve. I'll find you a gate valve. Hold on. Did you buy a vibrator from Amazon today? I posted those links in there. There's a vibrator in there just in case you need that at your disposal. Here's a multimeter in case you ever need to test your electrical, because I think it's funny that I had that queued up right here. I'm just going to show it to you. Let me find...
Always good to know if the water you're about to touch is going to electrocute you by a multimeter.
Well, there's people that like, because you'll have like heaters and shit that get fucked up and pumps. They get fucked up in your tank. And then people are like, I'm not sure what's going on. Like, this tank has got really weird shit going on in it. And they're like, it's got electrical current in it. That's going to make things, it's going to make things happen.
I wasn't being completely sarcastic.
Just to tell you, like, gate valves are like $1 million fucking now. And I don't know why. I don't know why they're so ungodly expensive these days. They were pricey before, but I'm talking like $20-something pricey. Let me make sure the ones that I have used. Like, I don't know what this brand one is here, but this one is $70 now. Don't know what to tell you about why they're this expensive, but you can go look at this link, and maybe if you're like a real crafty McCrafterton, and you could go find that somewhere else, go for it. I have a plumbing supply house, but I also have a contractor's license, so things are a little bit different for me, and I don't know what state you're in. But if you can go find, this is the gate valves you want. You want valves like this. Schedule 80, PVC gate valve, non-rising stem. I don't know what a Buna N O-ring is. Actually, I wonder if I could go find one.
So you don't have that trinket within reach of your desk to play with?
Oh, I crashed into the microphone and everyone's ears are dead now. Sorry.
It didn't compare to the acrylic cutting. You're fine.
I might have one. Who knows?
Hey man, nothing compares to my ability to really, really, really annoy people.
I knew you were still there.
Hey, look, I got a
I'm
painting
just chilling, you know, trying to problem solve some things.
I got a painting over here. Does somebody want to buy this painting? It's just chilling over here. Somebody should buy this painting. Who are you?
I don't have painting buying money, unfortunately.
God damn it.
Right? I was lucky to have $5 to donate to the cause today, let alone painting buying money.
I don't know.
I've been told that we have to cut back and like we're not going to be eating out anymore and stuff. So
You're not going to be eating out anymore? That shit's free, bro. What are you talking about?
Dumpster diving? It's so easy.
Oh, I was talking about cunnilingus. That shit's free. That shit's free.
Sorry, I forgot that existed. It's been.
I don't know. I mean, it's a good idea to cut. It's a good idea to cut back on that anyhow. Cause fuck, man, it's getting so goddamn expensive. Like the other night, I stopped by because I was like, it was late, and I was like, I'm just gonna grab something to eat on the way home. And a lot of times I'll stop at like Dick's, so I can get a bag of Dick's. And then stuff the bag of Dick's.
You gotta eat a bag of Dick's.
Yeah, and then eat the whole bag of Dick's. I just stuff them in my mouth. If you don't know, Dick's is the best. It's not the best. It's a really good classic cheeseburger joint, and it's named after a guy named Eggplant Johnson. No, I don't know who. I would assume his name is Dick. But I normally would stop there because like a couple cheeseburgers is like, I don't know, $5.50 or something goofy like that, right?
Steaks are
hold
good.
on. Cheeseburger at Dick's cost. I know they changed their prices the other day and they apologized for it. They had a sign up there that was like, "We're so sorry, we had to raise our prices." So a cheeseburger at Dick's Drive-In has been raised to $3.25. So I guess I got two, and it was maybe $8 or so. Wait, hold on, math. So it's like
Still cheaper than McDonald's.
it's like $6.50 plus the tax. So it was like $7. Okay, fuck, $8. What's wrong with me? Maybe I got sauce or something. I think I was $8, but I don't know. So you go there, right? And I'm like, okay, it's not great to eat cheeseburgers all the time or anything, but $7 or whatever. But the other day I decided I would stop by Chick-fil-A on the Chick's Fillettes. Because there's one like right off the freeway where you can like see it. It has a sign. And so I'm like, oh, let me pull off here. I'll get a Chick-fil-A real quick. So I got a water. It was like a lettuce wrap thing. And a chicken sandwich, right? And it was $17.85 or something. I'm like, why the fuck is it so expensive? Is it so expensive because there's a guy standing in the drive-thru? There's a guy standing in the drive-thru who takes your order. Did you know that?
Who knew?
There's a guy in the driveway.
That's weird.
You drive into the drive-thru,
Yeah.
and there are people
it's a
standing.
person.
There are people standing out there, like, "Hey guys, what do you want?" And they like ring in your
Not
order,
real
and
hot,
you
right?
pay for it. And then you drive up, and there's another person standing out there that's like, "Hey, what was your name?" And you're like, "Dick Prenicky." And they're like, "Okay." And then you drive up, and then somebody brings you your food at the drive-thru. They carry it out to you, and then they give it to you, and then you go, and then you leave. And people tell you thanks a whole bunch of times while you're there. And I was like, why do I got to pay the extra $10 for a chicken sandwich and people outside? Because I will tell you this, the people that work at Dick's are just as enthusiastic and happy as the people that work at Chick-fil-A. And the reason why is that Dick's pays an extraordinarily high wage for the job. They have medical. All of their workers get medical. All of their workers get assistance for higher learning, a.k.a. education, a.k.a. go to college do you want guy. They also have daycare for their kids, for the people. It's an allowance for daycare for your kids while the parents have to go to work. Because the people who run Dick's, who I've met a couple of times, I do not know them. I do not know about them or whatever. But I asked him about it one time. I was like, "What's that all about?" And he was like, "I want to retain the good employees, and it seems to be the easiest way is to take care of them, and then the good ones don't go away. They keep working, and then they're also happy, and they do a good job too." And you're like,
Yep.
"Holy shit, guy! You figured out the big secret." The big
And I
secret.
bet-
The big secret of like not being a fucking piece of shit, even though you're like not being a dick, even though your place is called Dick's.
I bet he's never gone off on a homosexual or anti-homosexual rant before either.
Now, I don't
so.
know about verifying any of that. I don't know.
I
The
thought
Chick-fil-A
that the way
guy.
that you have good employees is to yell at them all the time and make them feel like shit.
Oh, right, where you're like, "There's fucking mayonnaise on this, you pig!" Right? Like Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Oh, shit, it's 4:00. We got to get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah.
We
Guys?
gotta get out of this place.
Guys, we got to give a big thank you to Witchy Cat for a $5 super chat and for calling in. I always love it when you guys call in because I have somebody to talk to, and I'm so alone, and I end up going on these rants by myself, and people are like, "This guy, he's out of his mind," but we can be out of our minds together. And I also want to say thanks to Skogs for the $50 super chat to celebrate 4,000 days sober. It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal for me.
So many days.
It's so many days.
4004.
4,004. We are not quite to the 12-year mark. Is it 12 years or 11 years? I don't even remember anymore. It's so many.
11.
The number's getting so large. Larger to charge. Am I supposed to say something inspirational? Yeah, sure, I guess. Get sober, stop being a fucking a-hole, Like, how about that? Does it inspire you? I don't know. But either way, we're looking forward to another week. It's a big week in the construction world in my neck of the woods because the sun came out last week, which forced me to completely shift gears and start painting the exterior of the house because the weather is no guarantee where I live in this neck of the woods. Because you could have an exterior painting job in August that gets rained out. It can happen. I've seen it, literally seen it. Had to take a whole week off on a exterior project because it was just fucking pouring down rain in August for some reason. So this last week, the sun came out, and I went and ordered paint. And by the way, on an aside for my paint ordering experience was hilarious because I went to go order paint in the night before I needed the paint, and the rep was like, I can't take that order tonight for tomorrow. And I was like, that doesn't sound accurate, but I'm going to take your word for it. And he was like, well, I've got this list that I have to do, and if I take your order and they don't get to it in the morning, you'll be super mad. And so the policy is don't do that. And I was like, I could see where you would think I would get super mad. I personally wouldn't be super mad, but I get that the policy has to do with the people that do get super mad. I got it. And he was like, thanks. And I was like, okay, so I'll see you tomorrow morning. So I did. I went in, and the next morning, there just so happened to be the regional representative for Behr Paints, who is my preferential exterior paint brand that I normally use. And so I was there ordering a plethora of paint, something like, I don't know, 63 gallons or something. And the lady was like, "Oh my God, I will help you. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help the paint people. And you're ordering a big order. It's a large order." And I'm like, "This isn't a large order. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay." And so I actually got like personal help from the lady who had worked at Behr for over 30 years, and it went off without a hitch. And the blue paint is slightly less gray than I was hoping, but that won't matter because that house will be sold and I'll never have to think about it ever again. So that'll be fine. But it was a good experience, and I also told the lady, I'm like, I'm not used to this much customer service, okay? I got to tell you. You guys are
Right.
you guys are hand walking.
Stop it on me, lady.
I'm like, you guys are hand walking me through this process. You're holding my hand, and I don't know how to respond to this because it's a bit much. And she laughed, and I was like, yeah, but for real. Anyhow, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. We'll see you back next Monday. I thought this last weekend I was going to be able to do a stream, and I ended up working. So the girls were at the Girl Scout camp. I was going to do a stream on Sunday. I ended up working Saturday the whole day because, like I said, the weather. And my landscape guy was coming, and he wanted to know what the fuck was going on. So I couldn't play hooky on my own business because the landscape guy was coming. And
Responsible.
he would have been mad because he would have been like, "Where are you?" And I would have been like, "I'm not there." And he'd be like, "Why not?" And I'd be like, "I don't know," because I just didn't. So I went to work on Saturday, and then late Saturday night, I started getting the Olivia is throwing up. We're probably coming back early on Sunday. So my plan was to do a Sunday stream to talk about shit and review some clips and stuff. But we couldn't do that because the girls were coming back, and one of them was admittedly barfing all day yesterday. So can't do streams when your kids are barfing on the stream. I mean, I guess you could, but I really have no intention of taking advantage of Olivia like that by putting her on the internet. So, love you
She said.
guys. Have a good week. And the people in the Discord need to be quiet while this music plays.